better.
So hello, Rachel. Awesome to see you. We've just met a few times in our life over the years, probably over, I'm just trying to think, maybe 4 or 5 years. And I don't even know where we met. Do you remember?
No.
No.
I think there are heaps of circles that cross paths, and we might have met briefly, but we seem to do a thing, you and I.
We do a thing. As women, as soul-led women, we often do that thing of weaving into each other's lives. I know it's probably down the Rex Bionics or the disability circles, perhaps. As you know, I've got Gemma in the wheelchair, and you two are, yeah.
Yeah, I think
you got your friend. You got your gorgeous chair out today.
Yeah, the fast comfy one, fast and comfy. I rock a few different things, sort of standing frames and different chairs, and I've got a tool for the day mentality that whatever works on the day works. So
awesome. So for those who don't know you, it'd be lovely to find out a bit more about you today and what rocks your boat and what you love doing and how you've come to a place of caring for yourself more fully and loving the body and the skin that you're in. That's really the focus of the work that I do with women. And this particular series that I'm doing of interviews is called A Woman's Rite of Passage to Self-Love. So as women, we've always been through change and grief and loss and highs and lows and stuff like that. So let's start with you as a kid. I mean, what do you remember as a young girl or as a young teen growing up?
not a whole lot. So I spent a lot of time in hospital. I've got a pretty rare muscular dystrophy and it caused all sorts of complications with my body. Doctors didn't really know what was going on. But funny thing, not a lot of childhood memories, but I don't have any negative memories of hospital. I love the smell of it. I love the feel of it. A lot of people I know with similar childhood situations detest the place, and I understand that more than myself. I like it and feel comfortable there. I think I was the first kid to both my parents and to my whole family. So they had a rule, I was never to be alone. So dad restructured his life, mum restructured hers. So there was always minimum a parent with me, but sometimes extended family as well. My nana worked at the hospital and the only sandwiches I'd eat was bunny sandwiches with lettuce and marmite that my nana made. I think having amazing parents that didn't end up married, they're very, very different. They sort of broke up after 12 years, but they both were on the same page coming from different ways.
Wow, what a foundation they set for you.
Yeah, my dad's a career salesman and very successful at it, and he's like no limits. He had me reading Zig Ziglar and How to Win Friends and Influence People when I was about 7, I think. Yeah. And my mum's a ex-counsellor, eco-warrior, spiritual, amazing woman. And so she came at it from a real nurturing, good enough, self-love. I was raised pretty much like that. So between dads, you can do anything, no limits, and mums, take care of your soul and feed humanity and feed yourself. It's very different. It's almost polar opposites, but it worked for me because it taught me that if you want something, go and get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something, and mum's ethical grounding made sure that I didn't go egomaniac with that I can achieve anything. So I sort of, I credit a lot of it to my parents, to be quite honest.
So you're saying you don't remember a lot about your childhood, but for most of us hearing what you've just said about the amazing family, the two dynamics of parents coming to support you in the way that they did and that they were consistently there is an absolute blessing in most of our eyes, yeah?
I don't remember things like first day of school or technical things like that, but I remember always feeling loved and adored. And I remember something I heard Maya Angelou say years ago is the greatest gift you can give a child is, does your face light up the first time you see that child, or do they walk in the room? That struck a chord with me because as different as my parents were, and there was divorce and things, it wasn't always easy for them either. Sure. But still to this day, their face lights up when myself and my daughters now walk into the room. And that flowed on more than just childhood. That taught me to get a neat team around you. And I really do. And I think that's one of my continued secrets is I put people around me that I really value and look up to. And that's reciprocated with them. And so times when it has got too tough, I don't know how people make it through that are alone in journeys. Because for me, the reason that I've made it through hard things with a smile on my face is the team that I've got around me. So I think for young people, putting together a team of people you can trust and then honouring those relationships, it would probably be up there.
So who were your teen teams? Who was on when you were a teenager? Who was your team around you?
With some of them now, still friends with some of them now. A lot of them.
What are the qualities of those girls or guys that you hung out with that really supported you be your best? Or your worst sometimes.
Yeah, We had a bit of, there was definitely a few years of straight rebelling, just chip on my shoulder, got a point to prove. People used to always say to me, oh, you're so cute and you're so sweet and you're so innocent and this and that. So I went out and smoked cigarettes and got tattoos and went on a big hell bender. I'm not this cute little girl in a wheelchair thing. So I had some crew around me who wanted to prove a point with me. We did the big rebel together and we'll go on.
Yeah, okay.
All that stuff. And then just some really stable girlfriends that I've had right through primary school that just loyal, funny, kind girls that continue to be. Now I'm just sort of organising wedding stuff at the moment. 6 bridesmaids, so it's completely OTT.
This is your wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, tell us about that. It's exciting.
Well, it's 21 months away because the things that I want to do require a lot of financial resources. So, we're needing some time. But it's the whole bridesmaid thing. Like, one of my best friends I've been best friends with our whole lives. Our parents were friends before we were born, and she's a yoga guru and psychologist in Australia. She's my I don't know, she's my brain when my brain's falling apart. I call her in the middle of the night, even though she's in Australia, and just go through things. She's just wise and down to earth. And then another one of the bridesmaids, I've known her since we were 6, and at her first day at my school, she started pushing me and she said, I'm going to be your best friend, okay? And I was like, yeah, okay. And we still are really close now, and our kids are really close. So that's cute. And just other people along the way, but most of my friends are sort of 10 years plus, most of my close girlfriends. I've got a few new ones, but yeah, I seem to cling on to people that I really like and then keep them.
Hang on, yeah. So what have been the physical challenge? I mean, there've been lots of challenges for you, but what have been some of the physical challenges in terms of your muscular dystrophy? If any, because you've got this vibrant spirit that says, I can do it all.
No, plenty of challenges. My body's given me hell over the years, probably because I've got scoliosis, so curvature of the spine that comes, walking people can get it as well, but it's quite typical for people in chairs to get it more commonly. And I had a big surgery on it when I was 15 to sort of realign the spine and put poles in it. That was all right for a couple of years, and then they broke. But I think if I had to pick, the whole bad spines caused me a lot more problems than the muscular dystrophy, because that's a weakening of the muscles that comes and goes. It's supposed to gradually get worse, but with me it sort of comes and goes depending how well I look after myself and how stressed I am. I can be, like right after my pregnancies, I can be that bad that I can't lift a jug to make a cup of tea, or I can be that strong that I can be completely independent, requiring no help with the house or the kids. And I've sort of been years, all manners of that.
So how do you ride those waves of sometimes being able to do stuff and be out there, and other times just going, oh shit, how do we do this?
I cope a lot better than I used to. So I used to work too hard, really had a chip on my shoulder workaholic thing, so I get quite passionate about things. There's been huge times in my life where I've worked too hard, crashed once a month up at the A&E on pain medication, IV, really, really sick. Haven't done a crash and burn in a couple of years, but it used to be 4 to 6 times a year in hospital, just physical exhaustion, sometimes mental exhaustion, because both of it. Painkillers have been a thing for me off and on my whole life, struggling with them, because when I'm not in pain, I can live the way that I want to live. When I am in pain, I'm on the couch, so that takes away my career, my kids, my social life.
Your freedom, really?
Lifetime. It just takes away everything. So it's hard not to take painkillers. And with my situation, I've always found doctors are really, really willing to just take this, just take that. Like, I could go and get morphine this afternoon quicker than I could get a cup of coffee. So it's quite difficult not to go that path. But life sort of it got quite out of control at one point when I was working really, really hard, starting a business with my daughter's father. And I was working so hard physically and mentally that I was crashing a lot, then got into a bit of a spiral with painkillers, and it got out of control. But life sort of forced me to tidy that one up, because I got divorced and then I was going to be on my own and raising some kids, and I needed to prove a point to myself and authorities and other parents that I could do it without them.
You're a trooper, girl.
Well, I found a really neat lady and got into a mindfulness course.
Nice.
And she was amazing. And I did a 12-week mindfulness course, and I've forgotten her name right now, but it will come back to me. But no, I credit that mindfulness course for learning to do things without painkillers. And it was hard because I had become dependent to them and I had become addicted to them. But I was also in legitimate pain. So it was quite a hard thing to do because it wasn't just recreational, you know,
Sure.
it was complicated.
Mm-mm.
But I think having to prove to sort of SIPs and courts and things like that I could do it without the painkillers, and that was going to be a barrier to me keeping my kids with me. My love for my kids outweighed me not being able to put up with the pain or get rid of the addiction. So yeah.
So you're learning self-care slowly over the years by the sound of it, yeah?
Last couple of years I've probably learned more about it than my whole lifetime.
So what sort of practices do you have in place that really support you being on top of things?
Yeah. The mindfulness thing just taught me to live in the moment, because mentally when I get stressed out, then that goes over to physical, then I get in pain spirals. So I had to learn to deal with things mentally so that it didn't impact me. The mental things, just living in the moment, dealing with things that stress you out, putting things to the side that you can't deal with. You know, you asked earlier about the energy flows and living my life within it. I still get frustrated now. Like, I'll have plans with friends and then I'll be like, well, actually, I'm exhausted. I can't go. That still frustrates me. I still don't like it. I still want to be able to do what I want to do. But
you're a determined young chick, yeah?
Straight with people as well. Like, I do really want your company tonight. I know we had plans to go to this concert, but actually I can't do tomorrow with the kids if I go. Could I cook your meal on Wednesday night instead? Learning to be honest with people so they know that you're not just letting them down, that you do have a legitimate reason. And that's sort of been a big deal for me, because I felt like I was letting people down, and friends got pissed off all the time at me pulling out of things. Learning to be real with people, you know.
Well, exactly. And look what you're teaching them, Rachel. You know, you're teaching them that they don't have to be super troopers all the time as well, and that they can say no sometimes. You know, it's a huge lesson for us women to learn to say no. Yeah.
So saying no when you need to, mentally being present in things that are amazing. Before I learned that with mindfulness, sometimes I'd be doing something really cool, like doing something amazing with the kids, like cupcakes or little things I enjoy like that with the kids, but I'd be worrying about a bill that hadn't been paid or something that hadn't been done. So I wasn't enjoying as much as I could be enjoying the good time, because I was still stressing about something that happened 2 hours ago. To learn to put everything in its box and enjoy the good things, and don't stress about something in the middle of the night on a Tuesday if you can't even make a phone call or an email about it. Self-care. Doing things that I love as well. Every week, make myself do something that I love now. It's not all about the kids. It's not all about the partner. It's not all about anything else.
So what sort of things are they? What are you doing that you love, that brings you a lot of pleasure? Oh, another skill that women actually don't do. I often talk about pursuit versus pleasure, and that so many women are now so driven that they're so busy, they're so doing stuff for others, and their pleasure needs aren't being met, or even addressed.
It can be all different things. Some of it's really like vain and consumerist, like going shopping or going getting your nails hella fancy.
Yeah, why not?
I know it seems like really strange, because I could be quite a deep person, but having my nails hella fancy, I like that.
Nice.
Eco or anything for the soul, but something about just sitting there being pampered, you know. Op shopping, finding crazy bargains in an op shop, going up to Orewa and having a glass of wine by myself because I feel like doing that, you know, just having some time that turn off the phone, it's nobody else. Time with girlfriends as well. Like, solitude time's important. Time with friends is important. Mastery. So doing something that I'm good at. I don't do enough of that just at the moment. But the last time I did it, a few weeks ago, my daughter's birthday party, made the most incredible 3D Tinkerbell cake you've ever seen in your life.
Yay! I wish I was there.
But just things that make you feel proud, like, I've got these skills, did something amazing for my kid. And mastery keeps, even when you don't master everything in your environment, if you've got one thing a week that you mastered that you can go, yeah, I was a shit, I rocked at that. I think that feeds, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when you're not working.
So you're an incredibly able woman, Rachel. You're so inspiring. Where is disability, sort of that word or that concept, has that fitted into your life? What's been your experience from others as well? You know, where do you place yourself in there?
I'm almost looking at it from a new point of view lately, because, you know, with anything in your life, as your knowledge changes, your opinion changes, sort of thing.
Of course.
Because I've got a partner that I'm really intense with, but we've only been together a year, and he's new to me and new to disability completely.
Okay.
Interesting, his take on things. Like, I thought I'd sort of mastered most things that come with it after 40 years. But I didn't realise I've got quite a chip on my shoulder about having to do everything and having to do everything perfectly that I still battle with. Like, I'm keeping it in check lately, but it's still a little demon of mine that I feel
I've heard that little word proving happen a few times even in this conversation. Yeah, I got to prove myself. I got to tick that off, girl.
I do it, and no one's ever set that up for me. I set that up for myself. But I think there is a lot of times, like when you're young at school, I went through independent schooling, but every year there was huge big meetings with school boards and PTAs that I had to be in a segregated class and this and that. So I did feel quite a lot of having to prove myself when I was young, like not to my parents, but to the external.
Absolutely.
And I think some of that still sticks in. You know, I think some of it does. Like even with guys, man. An interesting thing between myself and another woman I know, similar age, similar life experience, similar sort of disability, like in a wheelchair. But she didn't grow up with a lot of close guy friends in the teenage years that you were asking about. And I did. I had amazing friends that were guys. And quite a lot of the time we'd compared experiences of being like 16 and in a bar, which I shouldn't have been at 16. I'd have guys come up all the time and go, "Oh, you're so lovely and you're so pretty and this and that. If you weren't in a wheelchair, we'd so date you." And she remembers hearing that too. And for her, that really hurt her and damaged her as a young woman. And for me, I had guys standing beside me that were like, "Dude, you're a knob, piss off." You know, and I even remember thinking that as well. Like, if you have a knob attitude like that, you don't even deserve a drink with me, let alone my time. But I think a big part of that was the guy friends that I had around me that were like, piss off. You know, whereas the friend of mine that had no guy friends around her, all she saw was her girlfriends dancing and drinking and partying it up. Just how much difference that made with the crew, you know, around her. So that's why I think,
So how is it then, I don't know what your experience of the dating scene, but I know with my daughter Gemma, who's in the wheelchair, and you know her, you know, it's been interesting for her as well. You know, what are the challenges there in the dating circles for people with, you know, so-called disabilities that are actually marvelously able people and gorgeous human beings, you know?
I can't speak for all people, but I've got a close girlfriend and myself that I've got to be careful how much I speak for her actually. For myself, maybe smarter. I've never had too many challenges about it. Like there's definitely been people, like there's stories, you know, people will find out you're in a wheelchair and they're like, "Oh, hell no, we can't do that." And I'm like, jog on. You know, it really doesn't, because I've met so many neat men and had, even men that it hasn't worked out with, I've had neat relationships that I don't regret any of my time with them. And I've never had anyone treat me badly or use that as a reason.
Is that, do you think, because you've got such self-respect, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and you've created some good boundaries and, you know, tolerations and piss off attitude if that's not working for you?
I think I make it pretty clear. You know, sometimes your aura walks before you, even if people don't realise that that's happening, it does. And I'm not the sort of woman that will be abused or talked down to or put on the back burner or played or cheated on. It's never happened to me, and I don't think it ever will. It's just not my deal, you know.
I love that expression, your aura walks before you. You know, you said before that one of your pleasures is perhaps, for example, going up to Orewa on your own, having a drink. You know, for many women out there possibly listening to our conversation now, they're on their own, they've come out of a marriage or they haven't got a partner or whatever, for whatever reason they're on their own, and they are sitting there on a Friday night going, I wish I was out there, but I haven't got the courage. You know, I know a lot of women in this situation who wouldn't dare walk into a bar or anywhere on their own as a confident woman. So what are some tips and, you know, cues for these ladies, or some just wisdom, you know, some womanly wisdom that would say, hey, for goodness sake, get out there?
It's a bit of a chicken and egg thing, because a couple of years ago I just walked out of a marriage and I was in a big disaster. My whole life was in a disaster. It really broke. Like financial, there's limiting factors as well. You might not have the gas, you might not have the money. If you're on your own and struggling, you know, been there, done that. But when you're feeling like that, I don't think I wasn't at my most confident in that first year post that, and I don't think I would have done it then. So I think the fact that I'm doing it now is more because I feel really okay with who I am. I don't know how you get. So
you've ebbed with that kind of loss and that grief, and sort of coming out of that phase into more confidence, or how?
I didn't force myself out of that phase. Like I knew that when my marriage ended, it was the right time for it to end for both of us. But there was a lot of like both of us didn't dream for it to go that way at the start. So there was a lot of pain for what I'd caused him, what he'd caused me, blah, blah, all the things that come into it. But I didn't force myself too quickly to pull out of that. I was like, right, I'm going to fake it with my kids every single day, but I'm not going to fake it with myself. So when my kids are around, I'll shine and I'll smile and I'll laugh. When they're not around, if I need to cry, I'll cry. If I need to drink, I'll drink. If I need to do whatever I need to do with my girlfriends and after hours, that's cool. I'll fake it with them between their daylight.
So why do you need to be so happy in front of your girls? What are you teaching them by simply having that persona with the girls?
Yes, happy, but not fake.
Okay.
Like, I've cried in front of them. I've told them, because they're at really different ages, so I obviously deal with
Just remind me what age they are.
Little one's 4, big one's 15.
Mm.
So the big one knows a lot more than the little one, obviously, and the little one, that was her daddy, so I had to really honour that relationship. She knew sometimes, I'd say it to her in language that she could understand. Mummy's sad today because I miss daddy and daddy lives in another house now.
Mm.
Yes, I did give them permission to feel what they feel, but I didn't want them to see me moping around every day, like, because I was really broken ass, like bordering on depressed. I didn't want them to see that. So it's all right for them to know I had feelings and that things hurt and give them permission, but I don't want to sit around every day bloody crying and being a mess in front of them. I think there's a time and a place, and I still needed to show them that everything was in control, that I was strong, that it was a safe environment. You know, I definitely believe in being real with kids, but not depressed.
So you've been through a couple of relationships. It sounds like both of your daughters have different dads. Yeah. How have relationships been for you on the whole? Oh, she says.
I've chosen, up until now, up until very recently, I think I've chosen quite intense, difficult relationships. I'm still not sure why I've done that, but I know that I've done it. It hasn't become clear to me yet why I did it, but I'm sure that I've broken the pattern. I'm 100% sure, because the relationship I've got now is not difficult at all, nor is he intense, nor is he mentally ill, nor has he got any addiction problems. It's like, wow.
So what do you think, you know, if you sat quietly, what do you think is something of that turning point for you there then?
Through with the drama. I think I learned what I needed to learn. Yeah, I think there was something that I needed to learn, and really dramatic, passionate, high energy, intense things was my deal. We had like world leading experts and things, and top athletes and bipolar people that were heaps of fun on a good day. Like, it was always really intense and fast paced. I think I was probably doing a bit of self distraction, concentrating on them and their relationship more than.
So who were these high flyers? I've missed what you just said there. Who were these high flyers that you were hanging out with?
Sort of all of them. All of my past partners have been real alpha male, really, really super successful at their own game. There's always just been that whole thing. Like, I'm quite attracted to intense, high flyer, alpha type people, but I've changed that up, I think.
And what are you finding now in this present relationship with your beautiful man who you're about to marry in 21 months?
Really different.
With bridesmaid in tow.
Really different. Humble, hardworking, not ego-driven, family-driven, peaceful, musical, spiritual, different, really, really different situation. And I think I looked for that. Like, I stayed by myself 2 years after getting divorced, like had a few dates and what have you here and there, you know, wasn't completely by myself, but I didn't let myself get into anything emotionally or mentally, because I knew what I was looking for, basically, and I knew I had to heal. The first year I had to heal. The second year I wasn't going to waste my time with anything that wasn't forever, because I didn't want more people around my kids that weren't the forever one. So I sort of gave myself a couple of years. And then when I met the person I'm with now, I knew straight away, knew within a week of talking to
Almost
them.
like soulmate relationship, yeah?
Yeah. I think I got really, really clear on what I wanted to. Like, I'd have dates with people and have coffee and things like that. And not in a judgmental way, just in a no,
next. As my girlfriend used to say, come on, next.
That's what I was looking for. And I was really clear, even with my partner in the first month. I said to him, well, what are your intentions, basically? Because I don't have the intent that I want to just have a weekend relationship. I said, I'm looking for a husband. I'm looking for someone to raise my family with. I know what I want. Basically, you need to decide, is this you or is that not you? I don't think that's not me. And I was like, sweet, it's been awesome meeting you. Lovely. 2 days later, he was like, I love you. It is me. I don't know what I'm doing. I just freaked out because, yeah. But it's worked for us. Like, 'cause I am really direct now. I know what I want in my life. I know how I want my life to look, and I'm not really willing to compromise that for anything. Because I've compromised enough in my life enough times, and I'm not scared of being by myself either. Like the 2 years.
I think that's one of the keys, Rachel, huh?
Also,
Those of us who have been down that track of having, been in relationships, separated and what have you, and divorced, I think one of the keys is being so self-loving and self-contained that we don't have to have someone in our life, but we invite them into our life.
Yeah, it's a different dynamic. I want you here versus I have to have you here because I'm
Exactly.
needy. No.
Yeah.
I'm not into that whole someone's in my life because I think they bring value to me hugely and to my daughters as well. That's what they're there for. And I think that gives them a neat space as well, that they don't have to be there because you can't manage the bills or you can't manage the house renovations, or they're there because they're loved and adored. I think it's good for them too,
So how have you stepped up? There's something in that conversation that's leading to this question. How have you stepped up in being in your beautiful feminine self? Just think femininity and what that means for you now.
I don't think that's new for me. I think I've always been quite feminine. Like I've always liked to take care of myself and present myself in a certain way. You can tell when I'm not okay, and my friends can too, because the nails go and the doing the hair goes and the makeup goes, and that's when I'm not feeling good. I don't feel like I need those things to feel myself.
So that's the outward feminine, but what about the inward feminine, which is all around, receiving and being gracious and, allowing the life to flow where it flows versus trying to, micromanage it. And in relationships as well, being the feminine. I'm not talking about being the woman here, but being in yeah.
I think I might have got in touch with that stuff and been okay with that stuff pretty young. Like I was 21 when I was pregnant with Molly, my eldest, 22 when I gave birth to her. And the whole self-loathing and my body's not perfect and things like that, it almost melted the day I found out I was expecting her. Because I'd had this body that's, nobody's body's perfect, but I always trip on, mine's not even symmetrical, like it's and quite often I was like, I don't care if I'm fat and if I've got cellulite, just dear God, let me be symmetrical. I want to be the same.
Make me straight, dear God.
Yeah, make me straight. But when I was pregnant,
what the angst about, huh? Interesting.
It all went away. I was like, my body did everything, and I went through all the high risk maternity teams, blah blah blah. I had less drama being pregnant than most women in my family, most of my girlfriends. Pregnant, perfect pregnancy, non-eventful, perfect baby, perfectly healthy.
What did you put that down to, Rachel? What were some of the key factors for you around that?
What did I put it down to? Good luck, good genes. Actually, no, the genes weren't that good.
But you got such an attitude, Rachel. I'm sure that was a huge part of it, yeah?
She was so wanted. She was absolutely wanted. She was planned. She was wanted. The whole pregnancy, just her dad and I were just ecstatic to have her. And I was just so happy the whole time. And my body, as much as it had been through hundreds of surgeries and operations and all these things and been cut up by surgeons and all this stuff, and it came down to the real, this sounds so cheesy, but the real nitty gritty of what my body was given to me to perform, for me, being a mother's huge. It performed it beautifully, without a problem. It didn't care how many pins I had in my back or this, that. It just performed it, and it was absolutely fine. And the self-loathing thing went away. It completely went away. I was like, this body has been given to me, and it gave me that beautiful child. And
absolutely.
I wouldn't swap it. I actually wouldn't swap it. And it's not to say that every day I look in the mirror and I go, oh, I love it, because I don't. I've got to the place that I can look in the mirror with clothes on and like how I look. I'm not at the place where I can look in the mirror naked, happy, just yet. But I'm also not unhappy. It's just like, oh, yeah. Put some clothes on, chuck on some lippy, and then it'll be, ooh.
But often we've got very functional. I mean, I do body gratitude with women, and we've got so functional about, or, cosmetic about our love for our body or not, whether something looks good or not, yeah, versus what you're exactly describing. It gave me shivers as you said it about that birth experience for you and the pregnancy experience for you and your God-given, ability to do that as a woman, and how beautiful it was. And, when we start to see it, I think our bodies as the amazingness of what it's got us through,
Yeah.
adventures it's taken us on, the people it's led us to, and what we've experienced within our body rather than the nitty-gritty of our body bits.
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. Like, for me, I don't compare myself to other women anymore. I do compare myself to personal best.
Sure.
And I'm on a bit of a health and fitness kick at the moment, and I feel so better the last month. I've been taking care of my good self. So the next month, I'm going to feel even better, because I like to feel fit and strong, that I can pick up the kids and I can push around the park, and it's more about function. I like, the lighter I am, the easier it is on my shoulders, the less pain that I get in, and the more that I can do with my friends and family. So it is a function thing more than a vanity thing. But to say I didn't want to look hella mean in a wedding dress, I'd be lying. I do.
And you will, I know.
It's got to be that way. So
you will. Great. So any parting wisdom for the, well, you've had amazing wisdom this morning already, and some real gems. I love the aura one. That's the one I'm going to take away today, particularly. And also just, your personal best one that you just talked about. Any parting wisdom for women out there? You've just given us incredible stuff already, but.
Live like your daughters are watching. Really, that has heaps to do with my attitude. It does. Once again, everything wisdom-y sounds cheesy, but I'm super aware that they're watching everything I do, more than what I say.
Yeah.
What I say comes and goes. I've got a toddler and a teenager. You know what it's like.
I do.
But living by conscious intent. I want my home to be organised and warm and safe. I want the people in our life to bring laugh and food, Sorry, teenager. Just even when I get not as strong as other days, to do what I need to do. Routine. Have to keep the house a certain way, have to do the exercise, have to get in the healthy food. When the routine gets a bit mundane and I get bored and I get like, this shit's really hard, the little faces and knowing that they're really, really happy, they're really, really strong, and this is what I've chosen to put my energy in this year is to them. And it's all working because they're super strong and super secure, and so am I.
Yeah, and I so hear with the legacy that your family line have given you in that, you started this conversation about the joy and the beauty of your awesome parents and what the foundations that they provided for you, and what you're now, from your learning and growth, are now providing for your daughters. Yeah.
I think that came back through because my grandmother died when I was young. I didn't know her well, but she.
What's her first name, Rachel?
Eva.
Eva.
Daphne, sorry, there's the other one. Daphne, but she went by Molly. She didn't like Daphne, she went by Molly, so that's who my daughter's name. But she was very, very close to death when I was born, and Mum had said, we've got this kid with this disability. We've been told basically to go home and try again, put her in the Wilson home, but we're not interested in doing that. We're going to run with it. And Daphne was like, no, I've got a sewing machine. It's a Singer. It's a handheld one. She's going to like to sew, which I do. And she's going to be amazing, and stick by your ground. Don't listen to the doctors. Stick with what you're told to do. And because it was her dying wishes, Mum honoured it even more than she would have naturally. And my grandma was an amazing woman as well. She went back to school and did her school cert and a UE and things that she couldn't do when she was young. She went back when her kids were teenagers. So hearing all those stories through of this line of women that are gutsy and strong.
The lineage, yeah, absolutely. You've been given a beautiful lineage. So, one of the big aspects of my coaching and healing work with women is actually helping them connect with those in soul who have been that inspiration, or who have, have their back and, going, hey, go hard, or whatever they're saying to us. How do you personally connect with her? Or do you?
Well, every time I speak Molly's name, I suppose. Little things like, she was a wedding dress maker and a cake maker. I'm making my own dress, and Mum will help me make it. And I think
love it.
Commercial crap that you can buy off the internet. Mum and I are hand making it.
Yeah. And inviting, it's about inviting her to give you a hand as you're sewing that dress. She's there already.
Doing cakes, like spending a week hand making 200 leaves for a Tinkerbell birthday cake. Every time I do that, I think of her, because as much as I didn't see her doing that, Mum's got memories of being a kid, and you weren't allowed to get towels out of the hot water cupboard because there was all icing flowers drying in there. That's the hot water cupboard. Like, just these historical memories that get passed down, even though I wasn't there. It's really important to Mum. So I don't know. Just thinking that my girls are going to have a similar experience, remembering Mum going nuts making icing flowers for a week for a party.
Yeah. You're a legacy maker, and you've had a good lineage by the sounds of it, yeah? A really, really good, solid, womanly lineage, yeah?
I think last secret might be forgiveness and hope, because no matter how bad things get, lots of people speak about hope, but I don't think they really believe in themselves enough that it's not going to be like this next week, or it's not going to be like this next year. Like, yeah, I'm in heaps of pain because I've just had an operation, or I'm in heaps of pain because I've just got divorced, but I'm not always going to feel this way. So I need to cry now, and when the tears are finished, I'll be finished. Instead of fighting it when something hurts. If you're mad, be mad. If you're sad, be sad.
Love it.
Because it's going to go. It's going to pass. But the longer you try and keep it locked up, I think the more it like festers and grows like mold. I think that go. And forgiveness, forgiving people even if they're not sorry. That's been a big one. Because there's people that are going to wrong you, even if you draw good people to your life and yada, yada, yada. People will wrong you, and there are people that intentionally or unintentionally, whatever is going on for them. But I think forgiving people even when they're not sorry because you want to, and you want to move on with yourself, I think that's probably a big one. Because so many women, after they get divorced, they get really bitter, and then the bitter starts to show on their face. If you're carrying around all this poison and bitterness and venom, how do you be attractive to the next partner when you're still hating on the last partner? How do you want to draw more love into your life when you're so vengeful about someone that hurt you that I bet they didn't even mean to, and even if they did, so what, whatever. You know, like, I think forgiveness has got a big thing to do with not carrying heaps of crap around like that.
Absolutely.
When chicks start to get all, you know the face I mean.
Awesome, Rachel. This has been a fabulous conversation. If people just resonate with what you've been talking about and would love to be in touch with you, is there a way that they can do that? Or would you rather it come through the channel of me? Oh. There might be a connection here that leads to something amazing. You know, who knows?
Ask Auntie Rachel.
Ask Auntie Rachel.
I don't know. I hadn't thought about that. Facebook Messenger's quite a good way that people can talk without getting too much in your private space. But if people want to ask questions,
okay, or via me if that's okay. And I'm on www.janellefletcher.com or somebodybeautiful.com. I do women's coaching and healing work. I've got this beautiful interview series happening. I've also got a women's circle. So if you, Rachel, are interested in a monthly women's circle, along with some other beautiful women, we're going to meet once a month on a Sunday. And just be in a really nice space of supportive women who just be real. So that's exciting. And so thank you so much for today.
It was really fun.
Go well.
Thank